Hello, everyone. I'm Demetrius Bright, also known as DC Broadway. I want to say, Michael, I just finished reading your book, and I must say it's an entertaining walk through the Roseland neighborhood in the city of Chicago. Someone who's not from Chicago, it was, like I said, so entertaining and also intriguing. And it also was a great book because you know my ability to pick certain things to read. And that was one of the things that I liked about it. It kept me turning the pages. I read it in one setting. It's good. So with that said, I know that there are going to be a lot of new things for you on the horizon from this book. Well, I said, so with that, do you mind if we chop it up about what you've written?
Let's go. Let's do it.
First of all, why write this book? And what was, I guess, your motivating factors for it?
Well, it actually came off of Darren. He's a guy who is next door to me. And he used to read urban novels. And I asked him, why you read that stuff? And he was like, I was like, it's all garbage. And he was like, man, you guys always talking about urban novels, but you guys ain't write nothing better. And so it was like a challenge to write something better. And I said, I think I could write something better, something more realistic, something more holistic and speak to our experiences better. So that's what I did.
So the urban novel genre, what's your opinion on the critiques of the sensationalizing of, say, the issues of the marginalized? And do you think that they're valid?
No, I don't think it's valid. Every ethnic group and nationality have been seeded groups, or they talk about their experiences. Italian moms, the triad. You know, they talk about these things, write about these things, and it's not demonized and look down upon. When you talk about our experiences, it's said to be frowned upon, and I don't think that's right. I think contextually, you can write about our plights, but not sensationalizing what happens in our communities, not glorifying what happens in our communities, and explaining how the environment affects decision making, especially of young Black boys.
That's I guess it's understandable because I think a lot of it is, not being frank, when it comes to Black literature or to Black experience, okay, it's often a horrific experience instead of a glorified experience. It beats to the sand because in our past we've seen the Italian mafia looked at as people to protect. So I understand where you're coming from in that aspect. In the opening of your book, I see that you give sort of a sociological analysis of what Roseland is. And my question is, would it be fair, say, you attribute your degree, your education in social sciences through NPEP, that your ability to identify the social ills you describe, like the disinvestment and the globalization, would it be fair to say that?
Well, Court or Larry Taylor, esteemed profession, she says each one of us has a little social opposites. Right. And which is true, but when I wrote or put in, I didn't have the definitions to define deindustrialization, disinvestment, environmental injustice. I didn't have that language. But what I did have was the experience. How people talked about when the steel mill factories closed down, how it affected the community. I can hear when people lost their homes, they had to leave their homes because they couldn't find suitable work. And they attributed all this to the steel mills closing. So I grew up in the Kent's industrialized Rose. Right? I grew up there with no investment in the community. I seen poverty rise. You know, I saw it like firsthand. I didn't have the terminology to find it right, but I seen it and I felt it. I describe it as like this force, this hand that's guiding you, that you can't see it. That's how I would describe the book.
I feel you, soon. I'm from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. And so there's an
Attitude that the experience may be different. Did you write this book with the mindset of showing that in nearly every metropolitan city, there's a Dupree, there's a Brink, there's a B-Way? Did you write that in order to express the story so that everyone could feel it? Or what was your thinking when you wrote it?
Well, I wrote it in the aspect of young black boys at the time, because for number one, people have no empathy for young black boys, and I think that needs to change. When you're talking about kids, 12, 13, 14 years old, making horrible decisions and being viewed as like super predators, and not figuring in or factoring in the environmental things that's happening around them that they're growing up in, watching violence, watching people sell drugs, watching death, and then say, "Oh, he's going to act different." What it does is about inability business. We picking up how to survive in those type of communities, in those type of environments. We picking it up. Then you blaming us for molding our behavior based on what we see in our experiences unjustly. We're not giving us a fair shake. So that's why I wrote that. Any inner city kid from New York to LA, Detroit, even Louisville, Kentucky, you know what I'm saying? If you grew up in the inner city, you probably disenfranchised in your urban community the same way we are.
There's a lot of subtleness in the way that you lay your story out. It's almost like make the sort of uncommon common, if you understand what I'm saying, and how this is displayed throughout the book. Was this intentional or is it just happenstance? I mean, because I know some of the things that, you know, like you say, club scenes and just kids getting shot, being running around with a gun up the street and all that. It's almost like, is this the way that you portray this? Is it happenstance or did you intentionally put it in these terms or put it in that manner so that
I want to show the normalcy that these young people are operating, even today.
Right.
The normalcy to have a firearm, to have a gun for protection. You know what I'm saying? You're living like it's always under the guise of protection. So I want to show the normalcy which some of these neighborhoods operate. I remember Professor Steggers, he said, if I left my house with a gun, I would feel crazy for doing that. And I remember what I said to him. I said, if I left my house with a gun, without a gun, I would feel crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This is what I said, the normalcy of in his life, to walk outside the house with a firearm is crazy. In my life, it's mandatory.
I understand that another novel's in the works. Without giving away too much, what can we expect to? And do you have a title yet?
The book title 2 is called All In.
All In.
Yeah. Now, Frank, as you know, for those who haven't read the book, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but he loses everything. He thinks he gains the world, but he loses everything. So now he is like entered into the main streets of Chicago. He no longer has his parents suffering over. He's all in. There's no more school. There's no more hiding where he is. He's just out there now. He's about to feel what the world is really like.
So essentially, the boy's become a man now. And I guess that's a
He's
graduate.
still a boy, right? Masquerading as a boy.
Okay. Before we close this up, is there anything you want to say to the people who haven't read it or the people who have read it, and you know, just so that they can hear your thoughts?
Anyone who hasn't read One Foot In, it's not what you think. It's an honest portrayal. I mean, not portrayal. It's an honest look at inner city life. Sensationalize what happened in my community. Glamorize violence, especially the race scene. I want to show how the dynamic of sex and violence as a power dynamic of women. And so I wanted to express that too. I'm not glorifying any of these things. And it's a good read. And you're going to come away learning something about our communities and fight for young blacks in those communities and women for the most part. And the voting on parents. You think, oh, that's your son, you should be able, your daughter, you should be able to teach them right. You know, sometimes these things are happening so fast. You know what I'm saying? And like my mother, like, she had 8 children and she was raising grandchildren. And she could watch me all day, every day, be around every corner. Every interaction I had with somebody, she was there trying to, couldn't have. So, you know, my mother did a wonderful job. Not mother and father, actually. Wonderful job. I still felt these rights. Not to any fault of theirs, but to my own faults, not recognizing the danger of something. It's what is happening right in front of us.
This is wrapped today. We'll wrap it up now. Thank you. Thank you, Michael, for writing the book. Also, thank you for helping me to see Frank and Pete. And Dupree and a lot of the friends that I had and other people that I was associated with. And then sometimes I think that the book also showed me that I might have been a Dupree as well. So I appreciate your work. And I'm honored to have had this opportunity to sit down and talk with you. Okay. I look forward to seeing what you do in the future. I love you. I'm proud to call you brother.
Love y'all.
After reading Michael Broadway's book, One Foot In, what would you say was the takeaway?
I've had a chance to read, to write a lot of different things, and the main takeaway was that he did not shy away from fully expressing or exposing the realities that each black man or each black child goes through within impoverished communities. But he didn't run away from it. He actually approached it head on as a courageous individual that he is.
I agree. Having lived in not only Chicago, but having grown up in the Roseland area, I found myself really impressed by his ability to capture the reality of the things that cause people to fall into some of the circumstances that lead them to be in the streets and, you know, the world of drug dealing, the world of shootout and stuff like that. Felt like he really encapsulated that very well. I think especially the way he humanized Frank and Dupree. You know, generally when you hear a story about somebody who's on the wayward path, you know, they're villainized. But I feel like he made Frank and Dupree more human, and in making them more human, he opened the world's eye. He opened up the ability for the world to see, you know, individuals who may be in that circumstance.
I totally agree with what you are saying right now, especially as you are now well know, there are many characterizations that are attributed to young black men or even people that have lived in those impoverished communities, such as Roseland, which where you come from. And those characterization is detrimental to the person itself. They are no longer seen as a human being. They are just a thing, right? You hear the word, oh, the suspect, oh, the individual. He's not even a person. He's a breathing, thinking person that has autonomy, who feels, who's able to communicate. He's going through a lot of psychological trauma, right? And I believe that Michael Broadway did a great job, right? Great job at just going there and really showing us, hey, this is a human being, this is a human, and not calling something that he's not.
My name is William Peoples. I count myself as a friend and now a fan of Michael Broadway's writing. Initially, I bought the book in support of him doing something positive. It takes a lot to write a book. But I had no real interest in reading a quote unquote urban novel. So although I purchased the book, I hadn't read it yet. But true to his artistry, Michael Broadway kept asking me, have you read the book? Have you read the book? And I eventually had to tell him, I said, no, I hadn't read the book because it's really not my genre for reading, but I'll read it for you. To call Michael Broadway's book an urban novel is not only a misnomer, it is an insult. If anything, I would characterize this novel as a longitudinal ethnography, wherein although these are fictional characters, he follows their lives from them being adolescents all the way to teenagers, all the way to grown men, and their life experiences in some of the war zones we call neighborhoods now. This shows how, if you're a sociologist and you want to understand why these underserved communities are at the state that they are in, this is a good place to start. You want to understand what leads many of our young men, and now unfortunately, increasingly, some of our young women to fall into the trap of the criminal injustice system. This book is a must read.
I was just reading through some of the bios, and I read someone here was, coping with stage 4 prostate cancer as they went through the program, And brother, you the same one this is your book too, right? So my man wrote a book while he was dealing with that.